Hey guys, I wanted to explain how this video was going to run because it's a little bit out of order. I spent some time out among the people with my suit and the sign and the whole thing, and so I'm going to share with you like the thoughts that I recorded on the way back to my car or in my car or whatever, and then it's going to run through the process of kind of making the suit. So it's going to be a lot of me talking and pointing at stuff, and next time we will definitely be back to examining an extant garment. I have a early 20th century, early 1900s white cotton gown, you know, with like the inset lace and the pin tucks and the whole thing. So we're going to look at that. And then that'll be a little while for sewing vlogs. So there you go. I just wanted to make sure that no one was confused. Thanks.
Hey guys, just got back to the car. I spent about 3.5 hours out in my area. We call it the square. A heavily trafficked area, and the cool thing was that the county offices were about half a block, probably maybe even closer to where I could kind of position myself. So I did have a lot of people who were driving by on the way to drop off their mail-in ballots, who were waving and got a lot of thumbs up. You know, those aren't necessarily the people that I was trying to reach. Maybe they are, you know, like I had
immediately follow up this
time to think about why I was doing that, why I was out there with my sign. And there were a couple of thoughts that came into my head. One, you know, those of us that are planning to vote, that are ready to vote, we need to remember what it took to get to this place. And if you're not preparing to vote, take a minute to think about what that means. You know, the opportunity that we have to exercise our right and make our voice heard. You know, there was a lady who was like, I've never done this before, and I was like so excited for her that she would, oh gosh, see, I'm like a giant baby and I'm gonna cry. And I'm not gonna lie, there were a couple of times today that I did tear up, because it's so big. How long women had to fight, and 100 years, you know, November 2nd is 100 years since women were allowed to vote in the first presidential election. That's big. That's a big deal. And anyway, so it was a kind of a reflective time. I was, you know, just kind of standing there, and you know, people waved. I would wave back, and I would kind of like nod at people that, you know, waved their ballot at me, and you know, a couple of people asked for selfies, and that was cool. But I had a lot of time to think about what all of this means, you know, and how, you know, my focus of study usually is the American Revolution and that time period. It was really just a beginning. It was just a beginning. And the 19th Amendment was a step in the right direction, but it wasn't done, you know, and we're continuing to make this country what we want it to be through casting ballots. And it seems like a simple thing, and sometimes it might seem like it doesn't matter, like that your ballot doesn't get counted, or, you know, it's not enough. But holy cow, like it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Exercise that right. So thing number 2 that I want to tell you is brand new American Duchess boots. Took good care of me today. Feet don't hurt at all. toes got a little cold, but it was super cold. Like, I was just all over cold. I should have worn a cardigan and maybe like another pair of leggings or something. I don't know. I'm going to be back out Wednesday, so hopefully it'll be warmer. And I will admit, as I was walking down here, because I was by myself, I was worried, you know, that I would get harassed, or that people would have nasty things to say to me. But everybody was super kind and great, and even a couple of people that didn't seem to have the tightest grasp on reality were super nice. Just weird. I did get like some hard stares from a couple of people, and they were from women. So what's that about? I don't know. I'm not telling anybody who to vote for. I'm just telling you to vote. So I don't know. But it was an interesting experience, and I'm not scared to come back on Wednesday. So
I've made a lot of progress on the coat, and I just wanted to give you a quick, it's not a tutorial, but I wanted to tell you the steps that I took to get to this point. Excuse me, not COVID. The instructions for this pattern, it's kind of like an 18th century recipe. The recipes in the 18th century are written with an understanding that you already have baseline knowledge of how to cook. So it doesn't give you every single step, and it doesn't like tell you how long it should be cooked or an exact amount of an ingredient till it's enough, till it's cooked. This kind of works the same way. They're assuming that you have sort of a baseline understanding of how a garment is constructed. And I was making things way too hard on myself, like expecting there to be each step written out. And so I was like, what the heck is going on? And then I figured out like, oh, you're supposed to, you know, just do some stuff. So let me show you, I have started the wool coat, and it's looking pretty good, and I'll show you the steps that I took. Not a tutorial, but I'll just explain them very quickly, for second, third, I guess. And then I have a lot of work to do today. I want to get it done today, and I think I can, but I also have some other like side projects that I need to work on, so we'll see. All right. So here it is. So the first step was to sew the shoulder seams and the side seams. And those are steps that are not in the pattern instructions. And so when it's like, sew the under collar onto the coat, you're like, what? So shoulder seams, side seams. Then I did sew the under collar onto the neck of the coat. And not only to the neck, but it comes down onto this collar piece in the front. These stitches are where the roll line is for the collar. Then, excuse me, the facing I hemmed. As you can see, not very well in some parts, but it's facing, so I'm just gonna be okay with that. And then I attached it. I pinned it starting at, I pinned it the center back of this like sailor's shawl thing, I don't know what to call it here, and then worked the whole way around down the front of the jacket. I have that attached. So what I'll need to do now is come in with some hand sewing and carefully stitch the facing down and finish up the neck. I have the sleeves put together. I still have to do the cuff, but I have the sleeves put together, and so it's two pieces. So this is the outside, and the seam allowances are different, and I did not finish the inside seams of the coat. because I don't really think they're going to be under that much stress, just because it's so like loose. But with the sleeves, I was a little concerned. So with the smaller seam allowance edge that was 1/2 inch, I did a French seam, as you can see here. And then with the larger one, I filled it so that these seams are finished and won't fray or split, and hopefully they'll be more secure. So this is the inside, this is the outside. So today I'm going to sew and attach the cuff, which is fairly straightforward. You sew, how did I do it? Oh, so you sew along this edge, and then you sew them on the sides. This part is open, this is the part that gets attached. So I fold under the seam allowance here, pin it, machine sew it, and then fold the other side over or down to encase. I'll explain when we get there. I want to attach the sleeves today and do all the hand finishing. Like, I have to do the hem yet, and stitch down this spacing. Then the coat will be done, except for the pockets, which I wanted to do the hem first so that the pockets weren't too close to the bottom of the coat. That is a hanger and my pile of like scraps that I need to decide what is getting saved and what is going into the this might become a rump stuffing pile. That's that. If I can get the sleeves attached and the hand sewing done, I'll be super happy. And then tomorrow I can attach the pockets and finish the belt and get started on the skirt. The skirt is like super easy. It will take me like, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like working on this after work and after I get some school assignments done. So I don't know. I will get it done this week though. And then I have to figure out how to, I mean, I know how to block a hat. It's like steam, you know, but how I need something that is about the size of the crown of that hat, and so I'll go figure that out. But that's my progress. Okay, so I have the jacket all assembled. I didn't sew the pockets on first. Now, admittedly, it would have been easier to have attached the pockets before I even assembled the coat. But from making the first one, I knew that I was going to have to adjust the pocket placement. These were the lines where it was suggested to put the pockets. The bottom edge of the pocket should be here. However, I decided with this one that I wanted to make the shorter version, so when I cut it, the hem was like right here, and I didn't want the pocket right there, so I moved it up. And I also decided that the pocket up here, I would rather have a different placement for that as well. So I've got my two front skirt panels here, and I've got my lines marked. This one is a fold line. These two then are the center front, so they'll overlap. And then I will stitch that into place, making a kind of fly front. Once that's sewn together, I'll sew the side seams, the back panel onto the side seams, and I'll need to case those in, so I'll need to bind them because those are raw edges. I'm not doing anything with this because it's a selvage. And then add the waistband, add the belt, buttons down the front and hem, and it's done. And like then I can worry about the stupid hat. Happy Friday! Okay, so I've had to take many days off from working on the skirt, and my sewing table is kind of a mess. I've been doing a lot of stuff. And so I do have like the front still pinned together. I did pin it together because I was like, I can do one thing. And that was the thing that I did. So I think I will sew this seam today, but I have just a few other projects that have like, I have one other project that has like a time constraint on it, and other people are counting on me to like do the thing. So I'm gonna do that this weekend. Yeah, so anyway, I'm really just excited to get this project done. I still have to go, to Joann's because I am running out of thread, and I'm using polyester thread with this wool, and not because like I love polyester thread, but because I have it and I'm trying to use it all up. So I'm trying to like get rid of my polyester thread and replace it with natural fibers. But until it's gone, like I'm not gonna like consume more things and just have this like plastic thread hanging around. So I'm gonna finish it up. But I'm like super stoked to get this thing done. The other thing I have to go to Joann's for is buttons. I don't say buttons that way, I say buttons. Buttons? Anyway, because this thing requires a lot of buttons. So 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then if I just did the opening on the skirt, that would probably be another 10, so that's like 11. But I think I might want to do buttons the whole way down the skirt. I think that would be cute. So that's a lot, and I don't have that many buttons in my collection of like vintage or salvaged, I should say, buttons. I don't have a set of 20 unless they're really small. Excuse me. So that ain't happening. But because I'm a super hip happening chick, I might take my Friday evening and go to Joann's. There was a time when I liked Joann's. Like I once lived in a small town where the only place you could buy fabric was at Walmart, and so when Joann's moved in, we were like, oh, Joann's! So many options! And now that I'm like, natural fibers only, thank you, Joann's just don't do it for me. Though sometimes, and I know it's not like really a natural fiber, but I do love rayon. And sometimes you can find some cute rayons at Joann's. The thing is that Joann's wants you to pay $12 for a rayon, which you can buy like way cheaper online. What's that about? Though I know that if I want to be more environmentally friendly, I should be looking for Tencel. So my cheapness and my wanting to be like earth friendly, they're at combat. They're at war. Sometimes one wins, sometimes the other wins. But whatever. I try, you know, and that's the important thing, is that you try. So make an effort. So that's the plan for the weekend. Sew my friend's dress. Sew this skirt, which really shouldn't take that long. I should be able to finish it if I put the effort in. But we're also gonna go pumpkin picking tomorrow, and I have to write a final draft of a paper, which is a whole other rant I could go on about, because this paper was supposed to be peer reviewed. And you know what my peer said? Well, it was supposed to be 2 people that reviewed my paper. It's due tomorrow, and I had 1 person that said anything, and you know what they said? This is really great, good job. Not helpful. And I don't think it's that great, so I think you're just being lazy. Anyway, do you want to see the cat? Of course you do. You're the internet. So that is the cat, Sansa. Kitty. Hey, kitty. So this is my daughter's cat, Sansa. She came with that name. What's your matter, Curdy? you look at the camera? It's not gonna steal your soul. What? What? And why don't cats just stand still? Like, as you're trying to pet them, why don't they just stand there and like let you pet them? They just keep walking around and walking around. Do you want me to pet you or not? Just... Ugh, be still. You know she's licking my pants. I don't like that. All right. Well, that's enough cat time for both of us. What was that? Okay. Anyway, hey guys, it is Saturday, and I took a couple of hours to finish a project, and I did sew the center front skirt, or the seam on the center. I did sew the seam on the center front skirt, which I was like, skirt is so easy, blah blah blah. And now I realized that when I made the other skirt, I didn't leave enough of an overlap, and it just fit. So I kind of fudged it a little bit. It's kind of like halfway between where it should be and where the orange one is, because I can't lose however many pounds it would take to fit into it in that amount of time. Like I probably could, like I won't, but like I'm physically able. Anyway, so the other thing was that I had to sew that seam 3 times. So the first time I didn't leave the opening at the top, you know, to get in it. The second time it was super wrinkly right here, and I still have like a couple of these like weird puckers, and I don't rip the seam. Sewed it again, leaving an opening, and it was super puckered. So I then ripped the seam again and hand basted it, and it was better, but not perfect. And I think I'm just gonna leave it like this. I also went to Joann's and got buttons. Joann's, why are you the way you are? So they didn't have enough of any of the buttons that I liked. So I got something that I thought would work. And they're not great. They're like gray plastic with a black back. I actually kind of wanted black buttons because my boots are gray and black. So I guess this will kind of tie it together. But they're not great. And if I find another day, like later, I just need to finish this for now. But if I find other buttons that I like better, I can always switch out buttons. That's not hard, as long as they're about the same size. So that's where I am. So, oh, I also did the running stitches on the back panel of the skirt. It is gathered in the back because, you know, you need a little bit of room if you're gonna expect to sit. So that I got that. And then sew in the waistband, do the hem, and it's done. Then I gotta worry about my hat and my sign. Hat needs reblocked. I've only ever done plain straw hats though. I've only ever blocked plain straw hats, and I just use like a hot steam iron and starch. But I don't think I will be able to use that. So I gotta figure out what I can do to this thing without destroying it. So that's the next step, but I'm gonna not do that today. Or I have to go to the grocery store because my kids are like, we want food, whatever. You know, be a little more self-sufficient. Go find some. Just kidding. So I have to go grocery shopping. Also, I'm hungry, so and there's no snacks in this house, and I don't even think there's like a vegetable in this house right now, so gotta take care of that. But I will make some progress on the skirt. I should have all of this done in a day or two this weekend, or the skirt done this weekend, and then I'll have to focus on figuring out how to block a painted old straw hat. We'll see. Okay, update. Hem is done. Buttons are all sewn on. I could not find enough buttons to do what I wanted to do. So it has a snap front closure, which I hope works, because the last time I did a snap closure, it would unsnap at inopportune moments. I have 3 buttonholes I need to sew in the jacket, and I'm gonna machine sew them because I'm being lazy, and also my buttonhole game is not strong. But I'm gonna like mess with this hat for a minute before I go on to that, because the buttonholes on the jacket aren't like super important. I mean, they're important, but I have the belt that kind of covers up most of them. So anyway, I could have just not done buttons on the jacket, saved myself some trouble. Anyway, hindsight is 2020. I'm really excited that I am almost finished. I'm gonna work on the hat. I want to be done today. And then I do have to make the sign, but I'm done. Woo! So that is pretty awesome, and I'm super stoked. Then I need to like schedule a couple of like vacation days to actually be out among the people, encouraging women to use your vote. Vote. Hey y'all! Welcome back. I feel like I've been hit by a Mack truck because I spent 5, I don't know, forever in the summer kitchen at work baking. And a couple of things. Cast iron is really heavy, especially when you're like boiling potatoes in it. And it was like in the 60s here, which you're like, oh, perfect weather. No, not when you're working with fire all day. And like, I'm surprised I have any hair left on my arms. So also dirty dishes. Anyway, yeah, so like my back hurts and I have like my glutes hurt from like squatting next to the fire, and I sound like I have a cold because our chimney doesn't draw very well. And so I did spend, you know, part of the day like breathing in wood smoke. I did get my hat blocked, and I put some new feathers on it that I had, so they're not great. And I did want to get new ribbon, and I just didn't have time. So I made do with what was already on there. The hat blocking is not perfect. I was kind of too afraid of doing too much to it just because of the age of the hat. When I was steaming it, oh my gosh, it smelled so bad. So I kind of made it better, but not perfect, which is like the theme of my life. Like, not perfect, but it's good enough. Anyway, so I'll show you the hat. I have everything done except for the sign, which I need to have done tomorrow morning. I took some vacation hours so that I could be out in public with the sign the week before election day. I'm actually a little nervous. So I want to show you the hat. Again, it's not great. I'm not like super excited about it. So when it arrived, it was smushed. It was like that tall. And so I was able to kind of put it back up. It's stiff, but it's, I mean, we still have like some dents here that I just did not feel comfortable working out the whole way. If you can see, I attached some feathers, which were mostly to like distract from this big dent area. This part of the brim had been stitched up. I could see there were threads there. I took out the lining because it was super gross. It still is super gross. And also my motivation brought to me by Dr. Pepper. So that's where we are today. I need to make a sign so that I can be ready for tomorrow morning, but we'll see how it goes. Why are you still here? It's over. Move on with your life. Are you still watching? What? I just told you it was over. Go on. You know you have chores to do? Whatever.